All right, let's kick this off because markets came into the final stretch of the year with a bit of hesitation. Hey everyone, it's Tuesday morning, December 16th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we dive in. Today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital Asset Management Frankfurt. Learn more about our funds and strategies at amf-capital.de. All right, let's get started. U.S. stocks slipped as investors took a step back and waited for a heavy batch of economic data coming up today and later this week. The big focus is the November jobs report, which lands today, and it could help shape expectations for interest rate cuts in 2026. The Standard & Poor's 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average both edged down by roughly 0.1%, while the Nasdaq dropped a sharper 0.6%. That followed an already weak close at the end of last week. Technology stocks were once again under pressure. Concerns that artificial intelligence expectations may have run too far, too fast pushed investors out of tech and into more traditional value names. That rotation weighed on the Nasdaq and the broader market, but the Dow held up better since it has less exposure to tech-heavy names. Now, interestingly, many experts actually see this rotation as a healthy sign. Instead of markets being driven by just a handful of big tech stocks, support could start to broaden across sectors. And if the AI trade cools off a bit, that could open the door for other parts of the market to catch a bid. Looking ahead, markets are entering the final full trading week of 2025 with a surprising amount of optimism. Analysts believe President Trump's influence on a reshaped Federal Reserve combined with his so-called One Big Beautiful Bill could bring both monetary and fiscal stimulus, which would be supportive for stocks and corporate earnings going into the new year. That optimism faces its first real test this week. Key economic data releases were delayed by the U.S. government shutdown, but they're finally arriving. Along with the jobs report today, investors are watching Thursday's inflation data for November and an update on October retail sales, all of which feed into the debate over whether the Federal Reserve is truly done cutting rates. Another big question is leadership at the Fed. With Jerome Powell's term ending in May, attention is turning to who might replace him. Kevin Hassett has emerged as a frontrunner, with Kevin Warsh also in the mix. Hassett said over the weekend that policymakers would listen to President Trump's views, but still aim to remain independent when setting rates. So, a cautious start to the week, a major day-to-day today, and plenty riding on how the economy closes out the year. All right, that wraps up today's Capital Markets Quickie. Join me again tomorrow morning for more market updates. See you then.